All right, y'all, baby, listen, let's just go ahead and get straight into it because we're here to read, rant, and read some heifers. For Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 15, Episode 9, Better Late Than Ugly.
You know what? My true feeling is that they are not getting divorced. I think that it's just a way to separate their assets or maybe get out of owing some of their debtors.
All right, everybody, welcome back again to Heavy Hitter Media. Thank you guys so much for the 900 plus subscriptions or subscribers, however y'all want to see it. Man, it's only because of y'all. First of all, I am not understanding why Kim Zolciak is walking around here with all this delusion of grandeur. Now, I know people are finding this season to be boring. I do not. I don't, because I just like seeing them live organically. Like all this arguing and fussing and all this fake made up drama and all that. I just like seeing them live their lives as housewives, girlfriends of whatever of Atlanta. Like, let's just get straight into it. So we start off with a montage of the ladies. With the montage of the ladies, we start off with Drew and her kids, and then we go over directly to Candy and Ty playing with some stripper boots. So Candy, are these for the show? Or are these something for your show, for your man? So we start off with Sheree. Sheree is getting acupuncture, and with her are her sister we never knew she had, and her beautiful daughter. So she is doing the most. Now, granted, we're definitely grateful that she's sharing this journey of fibroid healing and health and a different approach in healing in that and not going directly with surgery. So she's utilizing acupuncture. Now, she is doing the absolute most. I've had acupuncture before. As a matter of fact, insert picture here. Now, she is doing the most. You can feel the needles, but they don't hurt the way that she does. It's a mental thing. It's just kind of working with it. And she's doing the most. Sheree being Sheree. Now, Sheree is beautiful. I think I've said that several times. Sheree is so beautiful. And I love to see Sheree wear her natural hair. Now, even if it's some fillers and some pieces, I love women with beautiful hair. As a gay man, I could easily compliment and recognize the beauty in a woman, and I absolutely love that. Now, Sheree lies to us, and she tells us that a doctor tells her that she should take a trip with her homegirls, and that'll help her with the healing. In other words, production has said, girl, here's your $20,000 budget. You need to schedule a trip. It's your year. Can we get something good? And as much as I love Kenya, something better than Kenya's. So we move over to Marlo. Marlo is talking to her homegirl. I'm sorry, she's sitting there putting on this act and this farce with her homegirl. The one I said previously has the weird eyes to me that just, some of the eyes are just really, really weird to me. And she's gassing Marlo up about this fake ass date. I'm not going to spend much time about it. What I do like, though, which is one of the reasons why I fell in love with Real Housewives of Atlanta, is the opulence that they are showing. That is Marlo. The diamond encrusted this and the expensive decor. Like, that's what I loved about RHOA initially, is that it showed us what it was like to live behind the gate, right? In communities and access to things that regular people like us will never, ever have access to unless we became wealthy. So we move over to Sanya, because we're not going to talk much about Marlo and that BS date that she rented and only put on because that's probably her homeboy or her cousin, because we all know Marlo don't like black men, allegedly, especially not those type of black men that ain't got no money. Sanya is talking about Mommie Nation and the auction. She wants to raise $50,000. She finds out that the auctioneer has the vid. So the homegirl is like, well, girl, you need somebody that's going to be crass, abrasive, and very upfront that, hey, we are here to raise money. Call your homegirl Kenya. Now, what I don't like, which she has every right to feel this way because they not cool, she's like, Kenya? My friend Kenya? Kenya's not your friend. Your acquaintance and your co-worker, Sanya. Learn the difference, know your place. Yes, that Kenya, because Kenya is abrasive. She'll get in your face, and she's not afraid to call you out and make you dig deep into those purses, as we see later on. We move on to Kenya. Kenya is recording a commercial because she was not able to do, I think it's called the Southern Classic with Jackson State and Southern, I believe, or Grambling, one of those schools, one of those HBCUs, because she got sick. And it was a whole debacle that weekend. So she's taking that aspect and putting it into a commercial where she's going to do her very famous chant. Now, I know we read and we find it hilarious. Honestly, it's famous. Can you more hair care? Like, it has infamy. Like, it lives on beyond the scene. So I know a lot of people have had things to say about the fact that she says it's a famous chant and they're calling her delusional. No, although you don't want to admit it, it is very, very famous because it was it was a crazy ass. Can you more hair care? That is so, so funny. So she compliments herself. Sanya calls in the midst of the commercial shoot, and she's like, yo, look, ABC XYZ, the person got the vid, can you do it? Can you throw some shade? After accepting, of course, she says, I do believe that Sanya is a good person. However, this is the second time that Sanya has worked her way around my management and gotten me directly to do something for free that's going to be beneficial for her, which is what Sanya does, which we later find out is why her sister is upset with her. However, during the photo shoot or the commercial, we find out that Manetta, I like Manetta. Manetta's pretty to me too. Make Manetta a peach holder. Everybody don't have to be caught up in drama and mess. Like, she's married. She's in Atlanta. Her husband is wealthy. She's done things. She has a reputable resume. Give her a chance. She's either a flop or swim. I mean, it's one or the other. She sets up with Roy, Kenya's new beau, and boo, to have him come surprise visit her at the commercial shoot. Good thing Mr. does not come empty-handed. He brings food from his restaurant. We finally get to see Roy live, living, and in color. He's very affectionate towards her. I will say that the interaction was a little... Let me lean in so we can have this heavy conversation. I don't know about this. Now, Kenya, I have fought for you tooth and nail when people say that you have rented these men. I definitely know that you and he are a couple because we've seen you outside of the show. We saw you in Turks and Caicos at Candy's birthday very briefly because I think he just flew in for a little bit because he's not in many of the pictures. The interaction between you two, I don't know, perhaps maybe he's just not comfortable with being on the camera, or maybe he's not into PDA, but the two of you, it was cute, but it was like, maybe it was just the beginning stages of you and he dating, because it just seemed like people who are fond of one another rather people who are seriously dating one another. We love the fact that he speaks to Brooklyn. Brooklyn is very friendly. She's not standoffish. Children are very, very good with reading a person's character typically. So Brooklyn is receptive. She speaks in waves. She looks happy to see him. Now, what I do have a problem with, in addition to the other things I had a problem with, why the hell was Cynthia's part scrubbed out of here? I hope it wasn't because of that whack-ass OG dinner we see later on when Kim comes in. Like, what happened? Cynthia was supposed to be in the commercial, at the commercial, or something of that sort. Bravo. Y'all got to do better. Stop disrespecting these women. Now, many people know I'm not a huge Nene fan, but stop disrespecting these women. They've paved the way. They've done the things. They are the ones who put this franchise on the map. Like, come on now. It wouldn't take nothing to show Cynthia for a minute and a half for whatever she did. We go back over to Drew. We understand now that Drew's sister is 20 years older than her, and they spit the sister's resume. She's worked for some very reputable black shows, Rock, Martin. She's worked on some other shows as a writer. She's done this and that. Again, a very amazing, reputable resume. We also found out that she has been a victim of the DV, Domestic Day Island Survey, and that during the vid, she suffered a mental break. They go into aspects of what it was, and we have a little more discussion. I will say that at this point, Drew seemed very realistic, genuine, and authentic, because again, in other scenes, although we haven't seen Drew in many this season, I was about to say this semester, this season, this seemed real, probably because Ralph wasn't in it, and we all know that their marriage is a complete fallacy. We move over to Sheree. Child. The OG dinner. Well, not air quotation, because it was the OG dinner minus the head OG, Lanithia Leaks. Lisa Wu, Deshaun Snow, Kim Zolciak Bierman, and Sheree Whitfield. Now, we learned in Candy speak on it that she indicated that they, meaning production, wanted her to film with them, which I'm so glad that she turned down, because we all know that would have been 2 weeks of unnecessary shade being thrown at Candy about why was she there. She's not an OG. Although we know, out of all the franchises that fall under the Housewife franchise, Candy is the longest consistent running housewife of any franchise. She admits she is not an OG, which I think is very commendable and I respect her for because, so she was like, that would have been odd. I mean, what would I have talked about? I didn't know them. They left right after season 1, Lisa Wu and Deshaun Snow. So she didn't have any real, relationship with them. Now, what I found really, really odd is Lisa's behavior. Lisa, girl, you need to slow down. Allegedly. Because Lisa, girl, you need to slow down, honey. It's like the way you act is like you be tossing them back, mama, and that's not cute. You're too beautiful of a woman to be so loose about the sauce, mama. Slow down. Kim Zolciak says out of her mouth during some spew of the moment, I just say whatever comes out of my mouth. Girl, some things should be processed before they seep out of those toxic lips of yours, those plumped up lips of yours. Sheree begins to have conversations about trips. It's a little confusing in what she's doing, although many people think she's laying the plans for the OG girls of Real Housewives of Atlanta to take a trip separately, but she starts talking about Portugal. And Kim is like, well, who's all going? So she starts laying out the girls. And then she says something that is so disgusting. I'll enter it here.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Who's going?
Marlo.
Oh my God, Marlo. I love Marlo.
Kenya. Drew.
Kenya.
Kenya.
Really? That bitch is still alive.
For this very reason is the reason why I have named Kim Zolciak Bierman this week's Busted Canned Peach. We don't play like that. Comments like that, see, that is why you are in the position and the predicament that you am, Kim Zolciak, and that is begging for a job to return to a place that you claim you never wanted to be returned to. Now, again, you're the busted can peach because y'all with this fake divorce, on-off divorce, calling the police on one another. You got a gambling thing. He's this, you police there. All that mess is just absolutely ridiculous just for you all to call off the divorce. Now, it could be the fact that the ink dried on whatever contract that y'all were trying to get. So maybe it worked in your benefit. Kim says some stuff, as I say in my Busted Can Peach video. Be sure to check it out while you're there. Also, make sure that you go to my Facebook, my Instagram, and my TikTok, all under the name of Heavy Hitter Media. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you know exactly when I drop videos. She says, now, mind you, Sheree says that they're friends. They go on outings. They go and they hang out. They talk all the time. But they didn't know that she was a grandmother. So Kim fixes her mouth to ask her, well, do you like the baby mama? Those are the microaggressions, again, Kim Zolciak Bierman, that make these women look at women like you, especially you, as someone who is racially insensitive. They say other things, I say racially insensitive. Because you know what you're saying. You know what you're doing. And that shit ain't cute. Sheree should have checked your ass right then. Sheree is, she's such a pick-me. She is a freaking pick-me. They flash back to Kenya and how she invites Kenya to Portugal. And I don't know why they keep saying Portugal. And Kenya thinks Portugal is in Spain. They're near one another, but Spain and Portugal is not the same. Kim lies, and she says this.
We're still married. It's 11 years. We're doing great.
11 years?
It's funny because we all know the real deal is that you're not happy. You're not good after 11 years. And that proof is in the pudding. Be careful what you say because it always seems to come out either in the wash or the rinse. We move over to Sanya. Sanya Richards-Ross. What was Ross? Where was he during the brunch? Well, I guess they didn't really. Well, we saw men, but not. Anyway, we saw men, but not husbands. Sanya's getting her hair done by her sister. Sister has an attitude. I will say that I believe the attitude is warranted this time because Sanya did what Sanya does. She wasn't considerate. She takes advantage of the situation and she's truly inconsiderate, probably because she's the breadwinner. She's all of their bosses in some capacity. She just has her sister do things. Her sisters are like, girl, I didn't know I was doing your hair. I didn't know that I was going to be on film. I thought this was for some B-roll. I didn't know that I would be on camera. Like, girl, you got to stop doing that. Friend comes over, saying, what's wrong? Sis, what's wrong? Your sis looks upset. She's like, I am. Because, again, Sanya's inconsiderate. Sanya starts to drop these tears. She's like, I'm sorry. Sanya, you got to do better. Now, I don't understand the dynamic of their family. I don't. I don't really understand the dynamic. So, child, I'm not going to even lose energy trying to figure out what it is. Y'all work it out. Now, I do believe in communal family. And if I were wealthy enough, I would love to have an estate where my parents, my sister, my niece, and my nephew, and I could all have a dwelling unit, a large one, maybe 10,000 square feet, 7 rooms, 9 baths, including 2 powder rooms, a pool house, 5-car garage on about 3 acres, 3 to 5 acres, a communal dwelling unit that everybody pretty much has their own space, and all of the adults, well, we're all adults because my niece is a senior in high school, have their own primary suite. I would of course have the primary what they call it, retreat, or I don't want to say master suite because that's a little passe. But I would have the biggest room. I would love for the house to have several offices. What do y'all think? If you had the opportunity and the wealth to live, now I'm about to really show my age, to live like the characters in Dallas, Dynasty, Knots Landing, and they had those big, huge homes where the whole family lived with the rooms with Greenleaf. Now, if I had the money like the Greenleafs, baby, all that property they had. Do y'all remember when Lynn Whitfield was out at the graveyard talking to whoever committed suicide? Was it a daughter or somebody committed suicide? One of those children committed suicide. She was out at the graveyard. That's the type of property I'm talking about. Huge, astronomical. I would love to have a communal dwelling unit for all of my family. However, back to Sanya. So Sanya is having a conversation with the sister and the friend. They work it out. Hopefully things got better, but apparently not because the sister did not come back later. The ladies start coming in. So Sanya calls Kenya. Kenya answers the FaceTime. Her all over the head. Girl, where you at? Sanya says. She says, girl had a little bit of emergency. We see that Kenya had an issue with her dress. I don't think the dress was ugly, but I don't think it was necessarily cute. But it was nothing in comparison to what Marlo had to say. Especially when Marlo, when you had your eBay random fashion show, that old wrap 'em up styrofoam candy dress you had on, how dare you? That old candy that your grandmama have in a purse where you're like, Granny, you got a piece of candy. And she, yo, baby. And she got tissues. She got a fan. She got some butterscotch. She had peppermints. She had, and that old hard rock candy, that strawberry rock candy that was red, and it had the green tips. Yeah, that type of candy is what Marlo was giving. She had the audacity to talk fashion. Although Marlo can dress, I will give her that much. Now, Kenya also shares, hey, got an emergency, working out some things. I'd rather be late than ugly. And I'm a little more concerned also that my +1 can't sit with me. Now, Sanya's like, girl, whatever, I'll fix it when you get here. First of all, why would y'all call her and say your +1 can't sit with you? Although Sanya said, well, it's not enough room and y'all will be back to back. Well, if you take off cousin Courtney and put her to the back, you can leave Monietta, but you can take off cousin Courtney. And let's be very honest, Sanya, it's not like the event was wall to wall. It was plenty of room. Although well attended, and you met your goal, which is most important. So the ladies begin to have table talk and talk around the table as, we're trying to figure out when we're going to get started because, mind you, Kenya is late, Sanya is stalling, which I didn't really understand why Sanya was stalling because Kenya was doing the auction part. She's your auctioneer. You still had a whole program to do. You got up there preaching and speaking. Then you had an actual host, and the skill set of a host is to be able to start the program, to follow the flow, and to be able to stall if needed. You needed to give out awards. So what was the way for Kate? Like, you could have started and potentially she would have gotten there in time, maybe. And Candy shows up. Candy's tired because she had a show before and she has a show later that night, and she also did a speak on it, which we see later. That's the same clothing. And Sanya's like, she's been missing a lot. She made mine. Maybe I'm her fave. No, you're not. What it is that Candy understands, girl, look, I done missed 1, I done missed 2. Let me see, that's That's 100,000, 100,000. I gotta make this one because one, it's in between my concerts and my concert is not far. Candy was there because she needed to get that check. Candy not gonna miss no food. Candy not gonna miss no good sex. And Candy's not gonna miss a bag. Favor my ass. Girl, shut up.
Hell no.
So at this point, Sanya's like, girl, I gotta start. I'll do it. I'll do it myself. She gets up, she starts talking. Now I see why Sanya had a host and an auctioneer, because listening to Sanya talk, it was like, girl, what is going on here? Is she preaching? I just want to say that. So they give out an award. Then, for some odd reason, Sanya gives out an award called the OG Mom Award to a person who has 3 grown children. She's an OG. She makes motherhood look easy. And I just want to know, I want her to know that we appreciate her. Now, last season you said you'd never watched the show. Usually motherhood, I ain't no mama. I had a daddy scare in college. I ain't no mama. But usually raising grown children is a lot easier. So what has Sheree shown you that made motherhood look easy? Because you claim you didn't watch the show last season. She got 3 grown-ass kids. You give Sheree Whitfield the OG Mom of the Year award, and you have Cairo, which was a beautiful moment. You have Cairo give her the award. What I don't appreciate is how Cairo was dressed. But this is for your mama, and this is on TV. This is a moment, bruh. You're a model. I need to look a little nicer. You're already handsome. You got this. Why the denim on denim with the 2 different shades of and it wasn't even nicely presented. Cairo, I was disappointed, bro. You're too handsome for that. After the award, Kenya slides through in her red lollipop, and Sanya pauses, or production makes it look like Sanya pauses to look over Kenya. Kenya sits down. She gives her the ins and outs, and Kenya responds, "What's your goal?" She says 50,000. She's like, 50,000. I got you, girl. So they introduce, hey, your auctioneer is Kenya. She's this, she's that, she's this and that. Kenya comes up. Kenya looks very uncomfortable in the dress. She keeps like holding herself and this, and she's holding the paddle, and it's just like, make sure I didn't show y'all nothing. She is looking very, very uncomfortable. Amazing, but she looks uncomfortable. The auctioneer says she wants 50. We're not gonna do 50. We're gonna do 100,000 because it's 50,000 on that table right there. So they start looking around at one another and they start doing math. Candy and Drew look at one another. Candy's like, girl, how much is that? And Drew's like 7,000. Actually, it depends on how many people they were talking about, because 7 times 7 is like really 49. So that would have put you extremely close. So she's like, you got your 49? She's like, you got your 49? Now, Drew, girl, they say you took forever to pay your money, but you paid. On the after show, Sheree brought it to the attention, right? Your good girlfriend Sheree, right? Now, what is even more funny is that what are they auctioning? Are they bidding on vouchers? Like, we never really got a clear understanding what they were auctioning for. Like, it was just really confusing on what they were auctioning for, because Sanya is reading statistics and numbers and she's dropping information. And then she says, so it would cost this for 6 months. And then Kenya's like, oh, girl, what? First, I got you, 5,000, I got you. So she does that. Candy jumps up, I'll match that. And then Monyetta jumps up and says, I'll match that. I'm still a little confused, because an auction is usually competitive. Who can outbid one another, not match one another. So she was just happy to get the money. So after they've given their money, or they've placed their bids, or I'm so confused by this auction and the semantics, because it was all over the place. Kenya's like, okay, she by Sheree. I'm sure you sold a lot of joggers. Mom T, okay. Then production shows that they've given 10,000 collectively. Now, what I don't understand, because Sanya, you ride hard for Marlo and for Sheree. However, your first 2 people were Kenya and Candy. Looking by their faces, you had to make Marlo and make Sheree put in a bid, put in the auction, put in them out, whatever. So at this point, everybody's now giving 5. Courtney's giving 2,500. Courtney, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you all. Don't be swayed to get what you don't have. Girl, y'all are full-time housewives. This little old friend of chick ain't nothing compared to what y'all got. I'll give 25. Now, mind you, all of them are going to write it off, but you got to have it to be able to write it off. I don't blame them, Courtney. Girl, give what you can. So we get a total amount, and they did not meet. Well, no, I'm sorry. They met the goal. They exceeded the goal, and they raised $78,000. So I say they didn't make the goal of 100,000. However, her goal was 50,000. So when Kenya said the 100K, saying like, "Girl, this is my first. Don't scare the people, girl. You asked her for a reason. Let her do her thing because look what she did for you. Look what she did for you, girl. Sit down, girl. Calm down. Y'all remember that? Calm down." That pretty much is the episode, y'all. I am not going to say this is a filler because I enjoyed it. I enjoy when they are not doing all that extra, they're bickering and they're arguing, all that shit. It's aggravating. And it's unnecessary, especially when it's forced and faked, Marlo. I'm so glad we have moved on from that. What is now fake is Marlo and this guy. Marlo, you don't like those type of men. He can't afford you. And now we see in the next episode or in the mid-season trailer. Child, did y'all see that mid-season trailer? We see you bring him to something else. I guess they're doing Thanksgiving at Drew's, or Ralph is acting and faking like he's a perfect husband. There's some dinner and she brings the girl, Marlo. Girl, you rented him. Get your full wear. Y'all, that is the video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much again. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you for the 900 plus subscribers, y'all. I really, really appreciate y'all. Be sure to head over to my social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Heavy Hitter Media, and follow your boy. Hit the notification button so you know whenever I drop something. And y'all, let's get to this 1,000, man. Share, like, comment. Let's talk about it. Let's chop it up. I try my best to respond and communicate with my heavy hitters and the community. So let's do this, y'all. Until the next time. Wait. My next video is going to be the fashion review from the after show. The ladies, they're finally dropping after shows and we get to look at the fashion. So let's look at that next. That'll be my next video. Until the next time. Peace.